Hey everybody, Goosebumps here, back again with another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing How I Learned to Fly. This is the 52nd book in the original Goosebumps series, and is infamous for numerous things. One of the most popular thing being, this is the least scary Goosebumps book of all time. And honestly, I can still sort of stand by that. Also, I just read Weekend at Poison Lake, which had a very, very, very tame segment in it. This is still very, very, very unscary. This is easily the least scared I have been reading a Goosebumps book, even though I don't shit my pants every time I pick up one of these. This is by far the one I would, if I was a little kid, I would never shit my pants at. It's not scary at all. And that's not even an issue, as you'll come to see when I get to my upsides. Yeah, this book is very much a not scary Goosebumps book, because this is actually a love story. Yeah. Or a Disney Channel original-esque Goosebumps book. And I mean that in a good way. So, let's get to the blurb. And now for the blurb. He's got his head in the clouds. For real. Wilson Schlame loves to make Jack Johnson feel like a total loser. And Jack's had it. That's how he ended up down at the beach, in a creepy old abandoned house, in the dark, trying to hide from Wilson. But everything is about to change, because Jack just dug up the coolest book. It's called Flying Lessons. It tells how humans can learn to fly. Poor Jack, he wanted to get back at Wilson, but now that Jack's learned how to fly, things down on Earth are getting really scary. No time wasted. I'm gonna be honest. This book is amazing. Yeah, I said it. This is actually one of my all-time favorite Goosebumps stories. And I used to think it was still okay, mostly because I was looking for something scary back then when I was coming to this, seeing what could be so scary. And it turned out I didn't really like it that much back then. But upon reread, something clicked, as I said in my Goodreads review. Something really clicked here. And no, it wasn't like this was part of a bad run of the series. The books that came right before this are fucking bangers, right? We had Attack the Jack-o'-lanterns, Vampire Breath is an underrated one as hell, Calling All Creeps, and freaking Beware the Snowman. Those are all great books in their own regards. And then you have this right after it, and then you go to Chicken. But nonetheless, something's clicking here. And it's not in the way you think, of course. This is actually way different from your average Goosebumps book, because it's a love story. And I think it really, really, really elevates the score for being very different. Let's get to my upsides. The characters in this book really elevate the score for me. Jack Johnson and Wilson Schlame specifically. Now, Wilson Schlame serves as a really good antagonist character without being a straight-up Goosebumps villain. No, he is just a typical semi-bully, semi-just assholery character, but not approaching an extreme level. It makes him feel unrealistic, Disney Channel bully, but it still feels like a Disney Channel original movie as a book. But still, Jack Johnson, I think he's a good protagonist, and I think what he tries to do and the themes revolving around him with jealousy, he being jealous of Wilson, and how he is picking up the interest of this girl more than he can, and that drives him to be desperate enough to even attempt such a foolish thing as flying lessons, which turn out to be true, because it's a Goosebumps story. They can actually make him fly. And then, of course, Wilson somehow gets his hand in flying lessons. They can both fly. And then at the end of the day, Jack learns a valuable lesson. And let's just say he ends up getting the girl. And I think that is really awesome. These characters are really good with each other. And not in the way like, oh, they have great chemistry, they're best friends. They have a different kind of chemistry. They're good enemies, and I mean in a way that it really makes the story work better. Jack Johnson, realistic character. Wilson Schlame, not as realistic because he's very obviously way better than Jack in ways that are almost unrealistic, but still, you get the idea. Jack Johnson is jealous of this person, Wilson. That's something a lot of us that can relate to. Like, how about you're really good at the flute, and then there's this one kid in your class who's like, way fucking better. He gets a flute solo and shit. Maybe you're jealous of that person. This is something that a lot of us can relate to. I do not play flute. That was a random example. I think it's a really good idea, and I think it works well for this story, and when it comes to what Jack learns at the end of the story. Might I add that there's some great scenes in here, specifically the climax scene where Jack and Wilson are having their big race to the Hollywood Stine, which was super crazy, and I loved it. Their flying race, because, yeah, they can fly in this book. And I love the ending of this book. I think it is a great, really sweet ending. Semi-bittersweet because Wilson gets a short end of the stick, if you know what I mean. But he might not, maybe he will. The thing is, what makes these characters even better is because Jack is not even an asshole. He genuinely wishes Wilson the best because he wanted the girl, they both wanted the girl. But Wilson ended up not seeing what was right in front of him, in a way. You'll understand when you read the story more. He gets the short of the stick, but not in the way you think. Jack gets to become unfamous, and nobody remembers him, or at least not, don't care about him anymore, besides his family and friends, of course. And then Wilson becomes a Hollywood superstar, and he doesn't earn the interest of the girl, because Jack can actually see her. It's really good. It's a really good story with a great message, and generally really, really good plot. And I think Stine absolutely cooked here. Let alone, I really like the idea of how you learn to fly. It's simple, but nice and kooky, spooky. Nothing too crazy, though. The characters are well written. There's some nice jokes in here. I believe there's one involving a schlong. Yeah. Let alone, I think this story is a really fun one to read without being super wild or crazy, because it's a very simple story about a boy trying to win a girl's affection, which he does, so it's really nice. And yeah, I think this is one of the most down-to-earth, really good stories that has a little bit of fantasy elements, but not too many to call it the most unrealistic Goosebumps book ever. So yeah, let's move on to my downsides. I can honestly sit here and say nothing, and be fine with it. So, nothing. Nothing. But honestly, I do have something I can say, and this is still something that bothers me a teeny bit with this book. The lack of scares. Alright, I'm gonna be honest. It is a little bit of a misleading thing for a Goosebumps book to not have many or any scares at all. The scariest scene we got in here was a dark basement, which is like, fine, that is a more realistic fear, and that's the score in a way. It's just like, I mean, you have the fantasy elements of flying. You can add a few more things, let alone, I think this book could have worked better with some scares, or maybe some more stakes. Maybe there was a curse, or something involving the flying. Who knows? But either way, I'm very happy with the story we got at the end of the day, and if I had to change anything, it would just be to add more scares, maybe. Just because, well, this is a Goosebumps book that doesn't have a lot of scares. Unlike Are You Terrified, which has a lot, but it has a certain aspect missing. Yeah, trying that comparison. They're both really good books. I prefer this one at the end of the day, though. But yeah, How I Learned to Fly, absolute banger. Let's get to my rating. I give How I Learned to Fly, very obvious at this point, 10 out of 10. Alright, I'm going to admit it, I absolutely love this book upon reread, and I think it is definitely worth checking out if you're looking for something very different. And if you just want a generally solid but not too crazy banger, because there's some crazy Goosebumps books or even knockoffs that are absolutely amazing, like, may I recommend Snow Day from Spine Tinglers. It's a crazy book, and it's a banger. But then you have this book, and it's super simple, but it's also a banger, one of the best kids' horror books ever. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this book review, and tell me what you think of How I Learned to Fly down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.